welcome to Thursday morning wake up, get up yoga. People are starting to get up. This is great. This feels like a quorum. So take a good seat in the chair, on the floor. Feel like, Sherry, you'd have to write me a Dr. Seuss style verse on sit on the chair, sit anywhere, on the floor, not on the door, certainly not in the air. Yeah, we need help, but still, you get the drift. Do a nice manual inner rotation. That I find that I forget that sometimes, and then if I do this nice manual inner rotation, that helps, that rolls me to the frontmost and innermost edge of the sits bones. But there's a kind of sense of awakening as well. And since we're here to wake up, let's give it a go. Hands on your legs, thighs, palms down to bring the energy quiet and inward. And check out the body on the physical level. Connect to the breath. Notice how the breath is moving through the body. And then check on the body on the subtle level, the energy body. That's the literal, what is your level of energy, but it's also your psychic, psychosocial, as Todd likes to call it, energy. It's real, but it cannot be seen or touched. So that's the subtle body, and the breath connects the two, is present in both the physical body and the subtle body. And it's a check-in. It's like when we call a friend or send them an email or a text and say, how's it going? What's up with you? How are you dealing with all of this? And on your next inhale, draw your palms together in front of your heart center. Draw in your intention for your practice this morning. One soft Om, inhale, exhale, cleansing breath. Inhale to Om. Release the hands, flutter the eyes. If you have a ball, a spiky ball or a lacrosse ball, otherwise you can do the hand massage with the fingers. So you'll work and press in the mound. I ask you this every time, Dan, and I refuse to remember. This is called the, I want to Thenar, T-H-E-N-A-R, Thenar mound. Thenar evidence. Eminence, even better. The Thenar eminence. That's this little thumb thing that gets very sore and tender. So if you have the ball, press in there and then start to work otherwise with your hands. So Jerry, I don't know if you have a ball or anything, but you can do this certainly with the hands. And if you're doing it with the ball, begin to rinse rolling from the wrist to the fingertip. If you're working with your hands, start to do a little massage and pull and turn of each finger. And then if you're on the ball, scribble, and with the hand, take your knuckles and just work the palm and then release. Place both hands on the floor or just on your legs to notice the difference, to touch something. And then start with number 2, work the Thenar eminence. Another opaque term that I will have to define every time I use it. The mound of the thumb. right between the base of the thumb and where it reaches to the wrist. And then work all around the circumference of the palm and into the center of the palm. Begin to rinse or do a massage of each finger, pulling, turning, tugging. And then if you're scribbling with the ball, just work it around to any places. And with the hand, take the knuckles and just rub hard into the palm. And then release, set the palm at the bottom. The palms come with you, the ball stays to the side, and shift around to hands and knees. So on the chair, this is done sitting on the edge of the chair, up, and then begin to tilt from the pelvis and here. So it's not as much, I mean, the chest comes with it, but you start it from the pelvis, tilt the pelvis, roll to the back of the sits bones and up. On your hands and knees, same thing. Starts with the pelvis. A lot of times when the hips are tight, we substitute a lot of movement in the head and neck. So think of initiating from the sits bones, rolling all the way up the spine, and initiate from the sits bones. The head is the last thing to flow. The shoulders and the upper body do respond, but they don't initiate the movement. Make this bigger if you wish. Stretching back. Oh my gosh, I'm tight. And coming forward. Back and forth. It's how we warm up metal, if you need dough or work with clay, it's the same thing. It takes a while to warm it up, to get it pliable, so our bodies will do more than sit and complain. And then the next time you come to table, tuck your toes and lift into an easy dog, bending the knees. If you're on the chair, you can turn and face the chair and either place your hands here on the, and do, it's like a wall dog, but on the chair. Walk your dog, bending one knee and then the other. Good. Stretching out. On your next exhale, walk your hands back to your toes, forward bend at the back of your mat, or using the chair or the wall. Inhale halfway up, hands on your hips. Soften the knees, stabilize the legs, and shrug the tops of the shoulders towards the ears. Lift the front of the shoulders towards the sky. And on your next inhale, push down through the legs to rise up. Nice. Take the strap. If you don't have the strap, that's fine. For the straps here in the studio, beware of the buckle. It will slap you in the face if you're not careful. So just be wary of it. It takes a wide stance. Feet a little wider than hip width apart, parallel. Push down into the four corners of the feet. Pull the strap apart and bend the elbows. Want the strap to be far enough apart, you can let up on the strap a bit, Shelley. There. So yeah. Now pull down and back. And then draw the bottom ribs down. Xiphoid process wants to pop out here. So you're connecting here. Curl back. It's a morning back bend. And the back bend comes from the upper back. And you should feel some stretch here because the xiphoid, the ribs are moving down and you're stretching up. It's a big front belly stretch and release. Nice. So you can use the chair to hold on to or the wall, but work the foot. If you do not have a ball, And Jerry, I don't know if you have one or not. You can do this sitting down and massaging the foot, working your knuckles into it until you go, ow, ow, ow. And start to press all the points in the foot. You guys have been doing this. Work it out. Work the center of the arch. Find the places, the ooh-ah places, the ouch places. Oh, a lot of them there. Sometimes I'll push on certain points. It's where that reflexology, that points in the foot are connected to something else. And I'll push at one point and I'll feel a little zing all the way up into the low belly. Not all the time, but every now and then it will connect to other parts of the body and begin to rinse back and forth. If you're doing the foot massage, you can take your knuckles down the sole of the foot and release. Just stand a moment. If you're seated, don't get up, just hang on and change to the other side. Wake it up. Skip a day and there's just a lot of whining going on. So Shelley, it might be easier to bring the ball onto your mat. It's not as slippery that way, and because it has some give to it, then it's not going to slide out from under you. Does that feel? Yeah. And it doesn't dig into the cork as much either. So I'm not so, it's not the floor, the floor can take it, but I just find that it always feels like it's going to slip out from under me when I'm on the bare floor. And it even helps like to put it up on a blanket sometimes if it gives it more cushioning effect. Keep working, rinsing if you haven't already done that. Just work it out. Work foot 2. And release. Set your ball free and just stand for a moment wherever you are. Allowing the tingling from the feet, from more opening the fascia on the bottom of the feet, kind of waking it up, moving more blood into it, more circulation. That tingling comes all the way up the legs, maybe even farther. And just pause into it. Flutter your eyes open. Take your chair, and for us, your chair will face me, and the front feet are on the mat. Yep, Ruby, you're good. Just so it doesn't slide off, but you have enough mat space. You may or may not need a block here, just depends on, here you're a little shorter, and so if when we turn on a lunge, if it feels like you just are pulling yourself apart, you can lift up here and give yourself some space there. I wouldn't go higher than that, certainly it gets a little crazy. Or you could always, I don't know, roll up the mat a bit or put a blanket under it if you feel like you need some upliftment. All right, so sit on the edge of the chair, right on the edge, so your sits bones are right on the edge and you feel like you're about to fall off the chair, but don't, please. And again, you can do this if you're not using the chair, just stand. And then from here, the inner thighs move back and apart, tailbone lengthens. It's like you're trying to put the tailbone through the seat of the chair, and everybody sat up really straight. I don't know if you noticed that, but I didn't have to say anything about the rest of the body. As soon as you tilted the hips and the tailbone went down, everybody's posture, sorry, brought my cat's hairball with me today, I think. At any rate, pause a moment and just sit there. Good. Turn to your right thigh, so you will all be facing towards Shiva Wall. And then the back leg, walk it back. It does not need to be right behind you. You can take it out to the side a bit. Your thigh is right up on the edge. You're not way back. You're on the edge of the chair, the front edge of the chair. And the back foot, the back knee is bent. Then if you need to lift up a little bit and roll the outer left hip forward, you might start to feel a good stretch across the top of the left thigh there, even just doing that. And shall I make sure the foot's not behind you, that it's The front foot can come out a little bit forward. Move your front foot forward. Perfect. And if tucking the toes is possible, if not, we'll have an option. You can put the whole foot down if you want to turn it and put the whole foot down and just stretch here. The right hand's on the back of the chair, the top of the chair. The left hand reaches across the body, takes hold of the outside of the right knee, and just pulls. So you twist towards the back of the chair with the upper body just slightly. Push back through the left heel even more. Work towards straight. It may not straighten, but work towards straightening the bent leg, the back leg, until you say, oh, that's good. That's a good one. Found it. Inhale, release. Come to the side. So I find that a pretty good deep stretch. So think about it. When we're doing a regular lunge, I'm usually up here. You see how the chair seat is way below me? So now I'm taking you into a much deeper lunge, which is why this back leg won't straighten as much. Here I can straighten, but I can lift up. If I came down here, it's like, oh. But this back leg is still working. So you're on the front edge of the chair on your left thigh. The chair supports all of the left thigh. So you move your bum back a bit so the whole, as much of your left thigh is on the chair as possible. Tuck your back toes and inner rotate the thighs. So it helps you move the outer right hip forward. The left hand can hold on to the back of the chair somewhere that's comfortable. So the back knee is fully bent, but you're drawing your outer right hip forward a lot. Then with the right hand takes hold of the outside of the left knee, begin to spin towards the back of the chair. And then come back center and push back through the, I mean, not all the way center, but facing your front knee. Push back through the back heel to where it comes semi-straight. It might be able to straighten, but what will happen is if the front of the thigh and the psoas, if your quadricep and your psoas are tight, all these front hip muscles, it'll pinch the back, the low back. You just push from there. On your next inhale, come to center. I know, right? There's kind of a slow coming out of it because it's deep. Wide stance, the feet turn out. You're still on the edge of the chair, the front edge. Walk your feet forward there, Shelley. There you go. Keep them out in front of you, not in behind you. And then rest here like football players sometimes rest this way, right? They're trying to get the air back and pull in the air. Lengthen the spine. Sits bones are moving back. Pelvic floor widens as the spine lengthens and you stretch the heart forward. Nice. Inhale. Come back to center. Switch back to the first side. The right leg is on there. This time, spin the back foot down. It's turned in, but work to the outer edge. Your toes are kind of turned in. If you turn them out too much, that's too much outer rotation. So you want a little bit more inner rotation and then work to the outer edge. So Dan, can you put the whole back foot on the floor? Yeah, your legs are longer, so you probably could do with a taller chair, whereas Carrie's stretching to her extent. All right, now as the hips are about 45 degrees at a diagonal across the mat, square the shoulders towards the long edge of the mat. So in this case, square your shoulders to face me in the studio. There you go. Yeah, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. There you go. Now straighten the back leg to the degree you can. And if tilting over is what you need, see if you can sit up against it. There. Now with the hands on the hips, lengthen the side body and move the head of the arm bones back. Shift your weight to take some of the weight in your legs. You aren't necessarily lifting off, but you're moving towards liftoff without, so the tendency is here, tilt forward, lift off, but don't. Keep the hips and shoulders in alignment, scissor in, and just get a little lighter on the chair. Work the legs. So you've got a little less weight on the chair. Stretch the arms out in Warrior Two. Look out over your right fingertips. Turn the right palm up. The left hand reaches to the inner edge of your back thigh. I mean, the left hand reaches to the inner edge. That would be impossible. And look up. So reach up the palm, the hand up to the sky, and look up into your palm. Reach to the back of your thigh. Yeah, reach under the inner edge and pull it up. Nice. Now curl back. You feel a big stretch along the right psoas there. Do you feel it? I feel it huge, but mine's very tight right now. And release. So the neutral pose would be dog if you're doing regular poses. In this case, knees wide, just lean over. Feet as wide as are comfortable, is comfortable. Sorry, I can't get my verbs to agree this morning. All right, shift back, side B. This time the back foot goes down, but it's turned in quiet. You're on the front edge of the chair. The whole thigh is supported by the chair. The hips will be about 45 degrees. So if I had a little pole across here, they're at a diagonal across the mat. Then the shoulders rotate to face the center of face me or face the long edge of your mat without collapsing this back leg. So that you feel there's a huge twist here. I feel it anyway. Yeah, right. So if you're feeling it right there, Carrie, in the right there, more legs, like try to scissor the legs together and tailbone down even more. Xiphoid to tailbone should help to pull that out a little bit. If you're getting a kink, it means we're probably collapsing here a bit. So you can tilt forward slightly. Into a Warrior Two, look out over your front hand, the left hand, and then scissor the legs to where you start to work the legs to take more weight, as though you were going to lift off. It's not a requirement to lift off. And Dan, work to the outer edge of your back foot. You're rolling, It's not going to do it? Okay, well, work to it, I guess, yeah, feel it. Oh yeah, see, it went down a little bit. I know, killing you, right? And then reverse it. So turn the left palm up, look into the palm, the back hand, the right hand reaches underneath the thigh, in behind it, and pulls it up. And then just work as much as you can without cursing me. And release. Come into your resting pose. Of course, I left my water out on the front desk, but there you have it. And come up. All right, stand up. So you guys can place your chair towards the center, facing the wall, center of the room. So I'm placing it like you should do it. You place it, yeah, come out to the edge of your mat here, Shelley, right here. So the front legs are on the mat, but the whole chair does not have to be. All right, full downward dog here. You can start here in a half forward bend. Oh, it's a good start. You can slide the hands to the chair, step back a little away from the chair, or do full dog on the floor with hands and feet on the floor. If you're actually, whether you're on the chair or the floor, press the hands down into the floor or the chair. The thumbs stretch towards each other. The baby finger side of the hand stretches away. Do you notice what muscles activate when you do that? Yes. And come up. Come to standing. Interlace the hands or hold a strap if interlacing the hands is difficult. Legs are strong, shrug the shoulders, and lift. Oh. Release. All right. Place the right foot on the chair. Here we go. Give it a go. You need another hold. Okay. All right. There you go. Put it to the wall. There you go. There you go. Just stand. Yeah, or pick one. You've only got two. There you go. You got it. So Ruby moved to the wall. She needs more stability. That's smart. The other foot's standing up. We're not going into full lunge here. So lift up and press down through both feet. Inner thighs move back, tailbone down. And as you lift up, if the whatever leg is on top, the opposite hand comes to the outside of the knee. So what you might want to do then is start with your left, so you'll turn to the wall. There you go, like a big high step. There you go. So you can hold on to the wall and begin to twist here. Then engage, and you can keep your right hand on the knee, Ruby. Yeah, there you go. Like this hand is doing that. There you go. Then lift up. All your weight is on your standing leg. It's not behind you. So that what would happen if you start to hug the legs to the midline and lift up to the extent that you felt like your front foot was getting lighter on the chair. Lighter is a gradual term, right? It's not quite picking up, but sort of, kind of. And release. All right, side B. The foot is right under, the standing foot is right under the hip. You don't want it to be back like a lunge. It's just harder. Balance up. There you go. Now, the outer, so if your front leg, my front leg is the left leg, the outer left hip moves down. The opposite hand reaches to the outside of the knee, and you begin to twist. So as the ribs are moving towards your front leg, the low belly is moving back towards the standing leg. And then engage through both feet, press down so the foot on the chair gets lighter and lighter. Not that it has to lift up, but it gets very light. You're working towards that. And the breath too. Holding the breath, no bueno. All right, release. And shake off. Do a forward bend or a chair forward bend, just to stretch it out. And inhale back up to center. All right. Place the chair back where it was. Find your strap. Again, if you don't have a strap, I'll give you some adaptations, but I think everybody has one. I think Cherry found one. All right. So we do this all the time, either seated on the floor. Most of my classes, I don't do it standing, but that is a way to do it. If you lasso your right foot, pull up and in and lift up. So the idea is that, I will turn to the side so you can see it. What happens, you're sitting on the front edge, as far to the front edge as you can, because that makes you work a little more. If I sit back, I'm going to do this just because it's there, right? So wiggle your bum forward as far as you dare. Pull the head of the arm bones back. The tendency here is to make the shoulders work, then we round the back. So use this to pull back, let it out as much as it needs to, and lift the chest to it. Pull the elbows in and back. Nice. If you're not feeling anything in the hamstring here, then you just lift, pull back a little bit more and lift. So the tendency then, once we start to get higher, is to collapse, because higher leg is better. Not, but that's what our brain says. So it's better to keep it here and keep the upper body working than to pull it up and collapse. Then take both straps into the opposite hand. So if your right leg is up, your left hand's taking the strap, The right hand will then start to open you towards, towards the center of the room in this case. So turn towards, no, you're right. You're turning, towards the right, towards the Shiva wall. There, or wherever you're going, Ruby, that's fine. You're good. And lift. And release. Take a breath. Is this good enough workout? So this is good for you to, Well, and if you did a lot of cycling, the deep, deep stretching here is good with the eccentric work that you're not having to support yourself. So you're probably exhausted if you did a lot of cycling. Lele comes in here sometimes and cycles 40 miles before she even comes to class. I'm like, I would be the small little greasy spot on the mat. I would look like the bacon left, you know? I mean, it's just, that's all that would be left of me. All right, so it's the upper body wants to work, the head of the arm bones, pull back like you're pulling the reins of a horse as if you ever did. The neck and jaw are soft. And again, Ruby, slide the standing leg back under you. This is a little, get a little more stable. There you go. Now lift up to it. If you're feeling enough, that's fine. You can lift it up more. Then take the opposite hand, takes both straps, still pulling back. So you're not pulling out with the rotator cuff. Pull the head of the arm bone back. And the hand can reach around and help you on the chair to sit up and lift up. The leg just crosses center line slightly over. So if it's your left leg, it's crossing slightly to the right. For a little IT band stretch. And then release. Now, drum roll. Chewy, ready for this, bud? All right. Stretch both legs long. Heels are on the floor. So this is step one. We'll make it a little harder. Pull back, and then even though the heels stay on the floor, feet are hip width apart, try to lift the legs. They won't lift because it's nigh on impossible unless you've got abs of super titanium or something to lift the legs. Play here. Release. Then the other way to play is you balance boat pose. Otherwise, stay where you were or balance boat pose. And while my back does touch, I'm not collapsing. And maybe keep the legs bent or straightening. Sorry, Shelly, you're getting the sun in your eyes. It's just like wherever you are, work it. So here you play with balance a bit. You can play here. You just play it, right? But play with your balance on the chair. Just don't fall off the chair. It's a farther distance than if you're sitting on the floor. But work it here. This works too. Like I'm trying to lift the legs. You're working deep here. And release. Who thought that one up? Hangover. Rest. For some of you, you may be able to touch the floor. Widen the legs far enough apart. Otherwise, the elbows are on the thighs. So you go as deep as your body wants you to bend forward. Inhale, come up and stand. Place your chair towards that side. So you guys will be in the center. You'll be exactly where you are, Ruby. No need to change. And you'll put it where your pillow is, Shelly. There you go. So for a triangle pose, if you face me, take a wide stance. Again, don't have to use the chair. Just for me, I have to stretch a little differently. It's just different, not better, just different. Turn your left toes to the chair. And the chair should start to be going under the chair a little bit, depending on what kind of chair you have at home. Lift all 10 toes, spread the toes, Connect with the four corners of the feet. Both legs are strong and long, hands on the hips. Tilt forward until maybe the hand comes to the chair, or you might reach up for the back of the chair as a bigger reach. If it's too easy, widen your feet and step away from the chair. If you can't reach, Carrie, walk your front foot more under the chair until you can. There you go. Now scissor the legs, pull them together. Inner thighs move back, tailbone lengthens, and the act of the tailbone lengthening down is an outer rotation that causes you to also push out as you're pulling in. Keep stretching, keep walking the hands farther and farther. Should be feeling pretty good stretch here on the front leg. And release. Now, for a revolved triangle, the back foot steps up and over to a little to the side, not on a tightrope. So you can face either both hands on the back of the chair or Shelley, you can walk your hands up here. There you go. And turn your back toes in a lot. Almost like walking Egyptian. They're almost facing the same direction. Not quite. If your left foot is forward, the left leg is straight. This may be all you got here. Sometimes I've done this and it's like, I cannot go any further. Work the outer edge of the back foot towards the floor, particularly the outer heel. Get a bigger stretch on the calf. Then if your left foot is forward, your right hand is on the chair, the seat, or the back. And the left hand is into the left hip crease. Pull the left hip crease back as you're pressing out through the front foot. And then stop at any point and spin the heart towards the front leg side. So it's a revolved triangle. For those of you working deeper, go for it. Oh, place the right hand to the outside of the left foot and rotate there. If you start to round the spine, it's better to come up. And on your next inhale, step back into a forward bend, chair dog, something to even out. And step. Which foot? Your left foot forward? Your other foot, your right foot forward, yes. All right. So here you'll come to regular triangle. Stay, yes. Scissor the legs and you'll be facing the back wall. There you go. Come into regular triangle. Actually, I was just changing here. It looks like this. Your foot's still under the chair. The back toes are turned in. You guys are facing, the back wall. Legs as wide as possible. Turn the back toes in a fair bit. And scissor the legs and reach the right arm out to touch somewhere on the chair. The back of the chair, the seat of the chair. You can put a block on the chair, seat of the chair, and build it up if you need to. Ruby, one way to get your arm there is to walk your front foot under the chair more. Yeah, you can step the back foot up so you don't kill yourself. There you go, there you go. Wiggle the front foot even almost all the way under the chair. Get it under there. And now step your back foot forward a little bit so you're not in quite, that's the widest stance I've ever seen you. We may not be able to get you back out of that one. There you go, now come upright. So you're in regular, stack your shoulders on top of each other. The right hand is on the hip. Take the head of, your left hand is on the hip. Take the head of the left arm bone back and stretch. There you go. And then come to revolve triangles. So the right foot is under the chair. The back foot turns in, face the chair, place your hands either on the back of the chair or the seat. Step your back foot up a little bit, narrow your stance, and turn it in like you're walking Egyptian. Turn the toes way in, and you can narrow it even more, Ruby, if you want to. The wider you go, the more intense this is. It's not like it's not intense enough. Lift all 10 toes, press through the 4 corners of the feet, draw the inner thighs back and wide apart. Woo! Your chest is facing the wall of the chair there. There you go. That's why the back leg there, front leg is straight. Lengthen the spine. So as the sits bones are moving back, the hips are moving back, the heart's moving towards the chair. Then the opposite hand, so if your right leg is forward, left hand is on the chair, the right hand's pulling the outer right hip crease back, and now here you're turning towards me. Yeah, there you go. You feel that baby burn? Woo! If you're not feeling anything, try breathing, scissoring the legs more. I can see you, Shelly, when you're not holding your breath, your whole body just starts to shake, and it's like, oh, she's going to fall over in a minute because she's going to pass out. It's beautiful. So I find revolve triangle very challenging, even up high here, and release. Step back, down dog. Ah, oh, stretch it out. And release. So, and inhale your way back up. So we'll do some hip openers. For those at home or even here, if you want to do these on the floor, we'll be doing, on the floor you would do half happy baby and baby cradle. We'll do a series like this on the chair. So I'll just walk it through on the chair. Try it any way you want to. Shelly, come on up. Just sit on your chair. There. You want to do this on your back there, Carrie? It might feel better for your, yeah, right. So choose your poison on this one, either the chair or roll all the way onto your back if you're on the floor. Let me get the light out of your eyes there. There we go. If you're on the floor, bend your knees, place your feet on the floor. It's just like we're here. It's like, imagine we're on the floor. This is what we would be on. Sit to the frontmost edge of the chair. So sitting back, it makes us do this. It's like, oh God, there's something back there holding me. All right, and also sitting on the front edge of the chair, we can tilt the hips and get the low back curve. If you're on the floor, you do the same thing. The feet press into the earth, pull back so the hips tilt and your back waist just slightly comes off the floor. Then the shoulder blades move under the back so the chest lifts. Lift your right leg, cross it across on number 4. Oh yeah. And this foot wants to sickle. So you're pulling the top foot, the baby toe side of the foot is pulling back to the outer right knee. Yes, and go ahead, Carrie, you can either use the straps or your hands. Now soften your shoulders back. So because your torso is a little longer in to your arms, try using the strap and take the strap behind the left thigh, even double it, yep. Then you can pull, the shoulder blades can be on the back. You can, there, do you feel the shoulders relax a little bit more? Good. Because if you were on your bike, you were probably rounded over any, so we want to release that. For those of you here, you tilt forward, not collapse forward, but keep tilting the hips. And if you say, oh, it won't, then this is where you stay until you feel a nice stretch right here. Some of you may need to come farther forward. And then for those of you on the floor, release the foot to the floor, keep the right leg up, and we can do this too, or you can stay here. So you guys just stop, get off the bus when you're ready to. If you're on the floor, shovel scoop under into a baby cradle. Take the, there you go. Relax it under. Can even do full baby cradle in the chair, in the air, on the floor, by the door. There you go. Nice, Carrie. Carrie's stretching the leg out. In the chair, that doesn't really add that much, but I know, feels good. And then release. If you're on the floor, stretch both legs long. If you're in the chair, just extend from the hips, not to round the back, but to lengthen the back. On the floor, just stretch out and be long. And inhale your way back to side B. Number 4 first. So sometimes just sitting here, that's okay. Don't do anything crazy. All right. So you're stretching the opposite side now. If you're on the floor, the shoulders relax back. So one nice thing about being on the floor with this, and you could try this if you wanted to, Carrie, is to spin around. So your foot's on the wall. Then you don't have to hold anything. You just keep scooting closer. It's so nice because the hands don't have to work. It's one of my favorites. You can spin around if you want to. Yeah, there's that too. Hey guys. And then baby cradle it if you're going to that direction. Otherwise, stay right here and just keep working where you are. All right, so Shelly, already the knee has started to release a little bit. So you have to, she was starting way up here. It's very, very tight. And while her knee hurt, it's the hip that's tight. What happens is I see people, their knees high and they're like trying to shove the knee down. I'm like, no, just give it time. I would say even more, take the outer hip crease down. So take your thumb in there and pull it down and back. Work the foot more. See, it's already come down. And then you lengthen up to it. So we worry about what's showing up, but what's driving it is back here. It's kind of like a lot of things in life, you know? We look at the symptom, but not at the cause. If you want to work baby cradle here in the chair or on the floor, do that. But the tendency to sickle this foot is strong within us. Why am I ragging on that all the time? Because when I sickle the foot, you can feel it. This knee is no longer protected. So it's like if I were doing a lunge, I would have the foot in this same position. I wouldn't do this, or we know something bad would happen. So we keep it the same way in the air. And stretch if you're on the back, stretch your other leg straight if you want, but keep it working, flex the foot, push through. This is my face making pose. That's tight. And release. If you're on the floor, just stretch out long. In the chair, rest. If you're on the floor, bend your knees, draw your knees up to your chest, arms in a T position, and you'll drop the legs off to one side. In the chair, we'll come sit upright, and you're on the edge of the chair. Squeeze the knees and the feet together, and the feet come right under you, not far forward and not back, but just right in the right place. And begin to twist. Pick a side. You can twist to your right. And notice, just glance back at your knees. And what happens is the right knee starts to pull back and the left knee moves forward. Pull the left knee back by pulling the left hip back. It will curtail how far you can twist. But there's a reason in my madness, which is if you let the left knee go, you'll start to torque this SI joint, the sacrum. We want that stable. The twist is in the upper back. So if you're on your back, the knees are as close to your shoulders or armpits as possible, and you can support the top leg because often it will hang open. You can put a block underneath the top knee if you want. It's right up to your right. Keep going. There you go. You can turn it. Yeah, like we do a body pillow. And then inhale your way back to center. And pause. On the floor, you draw your knees up, so you take your feet off the floor. Arms out in a tent and drop the knees over. What happens is the knees start to move away from the shoulders, and that can strain the back. Here, we're keeping the knees even, using the one hand to help pull you around in the front, and the back arm is holding somewhere on the chair that helps you open to the other side. Glance down and whoop, the knees got out, one's racing ahead. So I find that squeezing them together or squeezing a block. So Dan, you're not taking your knees off. The knees are still facing forward. It's the upper body that's twisting. Don't push too hard. Let the legs push back against the hand. There you go. But you just glance down because the way that where you're turning away from, that side wants to pull forward. And that's just torquing your sacrum. If you think about it, that's just showing you that now my sacrum is out of alignment. So keep pulling back with the opposite side. Pull the right hip crease back. Yeah, there you go. And inhale. So if you're on the floor, if you want to get on the floor, get on the floor now. Ruby, you do this one in the chair, so you'll move back. We'll do this back bend like this. This is like doing bridge seated because the bum's moving back through the chair. Hold on behind. You may need to move it away from the wall a tiny bit there, Shelley, and lift up here. Otherwise, do a supported bridge. Bend your knees. Place your feet on the floor. And a way that you can use the chair for supported bridge on the floor is quite sweet. The bum is fairly close to the chair. Feet are under the chair. Lift your hips, slide the block under the sacrum. Snuggle the shoulder blades underneath you so the chest lifts. Sits bones are moving towards the floor even though they're up on a block. And you can keep the feet on the floor, or you can do a nice supported shoulder stand with the feet on the chair. The thigh bones are straight up and down. Gives you more of an inversion without the work. The chest is lifting. If the chest is collapsed, then you need to adjust it, snuggle your shoulder blades underneath you. If you're sitting in the chair, you just walk your hands a little closer to each other, holding on somewhere on the back of the chair. So some of you may want to stay in bridge pose for final relaxation, or with the legs hooked over a chair or a couch. You can relax them more on the chair so you're not holding them up. Oh, are you all right? Oh, good, you weren't sitting in it. I thought, I just had visions of him sitting in it. Oh, I feel better, thank you. You okay? Oh, good, okay. And so this is a nice inversion to stay in, or you can lift your hips, bend your knees and place your feet on the chair, lift your hips and slide the block out and do a regular legs up the wall, but on the chair routine. And so Ruby, you will come into your regular seated meditation with the blanket roll behind you. So Shelley, see how Ruby is putting a blanket roll. If you want to do this on the floor, go for it. Okay, yeah. So find your final position of rest. Settle in. You can stay in the supported bridge with the legs resting on the chair, or flat out on your back. You can go into supported fish pose with the two blocks, one under the back of the heart, one under the head. Wherever you are, settle. Begin to deepen your breath. If your legs are up on the chair, bend the knees. Place the feet back on the floor. If you kept your hips on the block, lift your hips, slide the block out. Come to rest on your back, or if you're still meditating in the chair, just hold what you've got. And then slowly roll to your side and rest there for a few moments. Drawing in the benefits of your practice. Rolling a little more towards the floor, slip your arms underneath you and rise up to a seated position. Sit well in the chair, the blocks, something that gives you a sense of upliftment. And just sit for a moment and connect, breathe. Draw your palms together in front of your heart center. Namaste. Enjoy this gorgeous day. Thank you.